Well, g'day there everybody. Uncle Jojo here. Great to see you all again. Thanks for watching. Oil seals the timber, but it also keeps moisture in the timber as well, which is really important if the timber's in the elements. If we've got timber that's on a floor that's actually enclosed inside a house, then we just need to seal the timber. But when we've got timber that's actually in the elements, it needs to be kept moist, because otherwise it'll split, break, warp, bow, snap, crackle and pop. We've got some benches here, I'll show you those. We're just going to prepare this deck and then we'll give it an oil down. But I'll also show you a comparison between a sealer for a floor inside and an oil for a deck for outside. So here we are with the deck finished. This has had one coat all the way through. You can see the richness of the board, but if you come over here, the exact same timber, these are our bench seats, and these bench seats have had two coats. You can see that they're just that a little bit deeper in colour, and you can see that the oil seeped in just that little bit better. This is good now to go on for a secondary coat. I've just poured a little bit of water on here so you could have a look, and you can see how the water just sits on the surface. It doesn't seep in. This has been sitting here for probably around about half an hour, and it hasn't really seeped in. It's still pooling really well, which means that the oil has really got into that grain of that timber and is doing its job of protecting it. It goes for longevity, saves on resources. On that note, what I've prepared here was the different types of... We've got a piece, exactly the same piece, with a sealer on one side and an oil on the other side. And here I've got another piece with just water on it. So you can see that the water seeps into the grain, runs up with the grain and becomes part of the timber. The sealer here sits just on the surface all the way through. You can see a beautiful shine. It's protected the top of it. And you can see that there's nothing there that's actually penetrated into the grain. But the oil, you can see, has actually come into the grain, soaked all the way through. And look how deep this oil's gotten into this grain. So the oil then penetrates all the way through that timber, and what it does is it really becomes part of that grain. Oil being a natural product, it seeped into the grain, and it will preserve the timber for as long as that oil's around. That's why, look, you can just see in a couple of days we've had some really hot weather, and you can see just a little bit of discoloration with one coat, whereas these having two coats, they're full of moisture and there's no discoloration. They're really good all the way through. So that's why we use oil on decks, bench seats, etc., for external use. We also dip posts in oil if they're going to go into the ground. The oil seeps into the grain, it protects the entire grain, and then it's got the longevity, and we don't overuse resources that way. The bench seats are finished. These have had two coats. You can see the difference in the colour between that and the actual deck. These are ready to be installed now. They look absolutely beautiful. Two coats all the way through. We'll do another coat of that on that deck then, and give it another coat with, and then again, that will be really nicely protected. Depending on the weather, that'll be really nicely protected for about another 3 months in the summer sun. It's a really hot summer sun this year. And then after that, we'll give it another coat, and that'll last probably 9 months, all through autumn and winter, just depending on how hot those seasons are. Here we have the deck finished, nice and oiled, nice and fresh. You can see that rich colour all the way through, all that moisture getting back into the timber. So that was my video on decks, oiling the decks and prepping decks. If you've got any questions or queries about that, please send them through. Otherwise, thanks for watching and see you in the soup.